Hey, what's up guys, my name is Ramon, and in this two-part tutorial, I'm going to show you how to make a Jedi hologram. Check it out.
General, I haven't encountered anything strange in this sector.
And now that was from my latest short film, Star Wars vs. Dragon Ball Z, and that I made with my good friend Evan Goodell. And if you haven't watched it already, check it out, and don't forget to subscribe, because I'll be uploading weekly tutorials from not only that fan film, but from other things that I'm working on. So, let's get started. First things first, bring the footage. Let's start with the hologram. As you guys can see, we didn't shoot in ideal location. We have some darks there. We didn't use any on-set lights. We used all natural lights. It's not gonna give us too much trouble. The feet, we do have to mask out, but not a problem. So click R for rotation. Click 90 or type in 90. Looks good. Go to composition settings, and I'm gonna change it to 1080 by 1920. Okay. Hit enter. Okay, and that is gonna give us a good flip. Now let's key it out. Okay, come over here and type in key light. Okay. Now let's just try it out. I see how this starts. And I'm gonna start from the dark locations because it usually works better. Adjust a few parameters, kind of get it to where it's gone, and he still looks Casper-like. Okay, so we're gonna bring that up. Okay, it looks good. Because it is a hologram, we don't have to be as precise about it, even though we should, if you need to be, but it's not gonna kill it. So I specifically asked the actor not to move very much. His feet stay pretty stationary, just so we can mask this out very well. All right. So and before you guys rag me out on it, before I get hazed with comments, I know this is the worst Jedi hologram on the face of the planet. This is like a Jack Sparrow costume jacket, and this is like a V-neck, and this is a belt that I actually wear. Okay, and we have no boots. We don't have any boots. I know. So anyway, now let's do a couple things. First things first, let's fix the feet. Make a quick mask. Okay, boom, 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 boom. Okay, looks good. Click M. Come over here, and you can click inverted or you can click subtract. Either one will work. They will do the trick. We're gonna make a new layer, a new adjustment layer, and we're gonna call this darken, or darken, and that's where. We're gonna come over here to effects and presets, and we're gonna click curves. Right there, bring curves in, and we're gonna lower it. We're gonna darken it with the RGB part. We're gonna make it dark. We're gonna make it dark. And we're gonna duplicate it. And we're gonna make it even more dark. Actually, that looks good. We're gonna bring that up just a little bit. Okay, right there. Yeah, that needs to be a little darker. And right here, we're going to darken his face. And we want to keep it as close as possible to his face, because anything that we select outside the adjustment layer is going to also be darkened in the final composite. Depending on what your footage is, you can kind of guess for yourself. But we are going to do like a quick light, mask, path, position, follow, whatever of it. So let's just fix this a little bit, and I lost it. So we're going to come over here, and we're going to click M. We're going to change the mask color to like a red, so that we can see what's going on. Oh, okay, I was totally off. Alright, so right there, we're going to click that. Good. And there it is. Cool. Darken it. Darken that a lot. And I know it looks weird right now, but trust me, in the very end, it's going to look much better. I feather that just a little bit, and okay. Now, because it's not like tracking or anything, we are going to click M, double click M for mask path. Click the stopwatch, and we're going to, script through here and move this around. And, I'm speeding this up now, just kind of do it yourself, to kind of figure it out, depending on what your footage is. If you decide to use this footage, great. So, we're going to take this comp here. Actually, we're going to rename this comp. I'm going to composition settings. I'm going to call this keyed, because we keyed it out. So I'm going to drag key down into the new composition here. Okay, looks good. I make this composition 16 by 9 again, so we're going to do 1920 by 1080. Okay. And the reason I'm doing this is because, because we're about to apply a bunch of different effects, and it's very useful to be able to go into your pre-comp or your previous composition and adjust the few little things that's supposed to set off a chain reaction of unforeseen events, with like stuff clashing and all that. So, what we're doing here is, now that we have this here, let's go to a different frame. Okay. Get his eyes open. Okay. Now, we're going to add a curves. Again, I know, another curves. We're going to drag it over. And we also need a tint. So, tint. If you want to make things blue, you have to take out the red. So, we're going to take out the red. We're going to move tint up. Don't forget that. Okay. I'm just going to add some more blue. So now, we're close. He's a smurf, but we're close. Okay. Bring scale down just a little bit more. Just to get his entire body in. Oh, actually, let's I'll bring that up just a little bit. Oh, we want to get it as close as possible. So I duplicate the layer. Boom, boom. And now we have two of them. Okay. Oh, and now, right? And something else I want to add that I'm definitely going to be including in the project file somewhere. I'm not sure how I'm going to host it, but is something called scanlines. And pretty much what this is, I'll search it here. This is the small scale lines, okay? And I'm gonna include in the project file. You guys can get it. You don't have to spend too much time on it. This is a small scale line, so this is ideally 8 copies of this one thing. Zoom in. You can see that there's a very small mass of thin lines and duplicated and unduplicated and unduplicated and and half a scallop and a few different times. I actually made this years ago. But I linked it up to a control layer, and you guys can figure that out. I'm sure you know. This is the end result. Now we have our scan lines. Now that you kind of get a feel for them, you guys can kind of browse around here, see exactly how I did it. But we can rename that. Now we're gonna rename it to hologram. Boom. Okay. We're getting serious now, guys. So I'm gonna grab the scan lines, the big scan lines, not the small scan lines. And I'm going to put that over there now. And although that looks pretty good, we're going to add a little bit more to it. So I'm going to turn that off. And do an alpha matte right here. I turn this off so you kind of see what's going on. And pretty much what it's doing is, the keyed is using the scan lines as kind of like it's a cookie cutter. So, yeah. Looks good. I'm happy with it, and what I like about this is that there's different variations of transparency and thickness and all that, so it looks good. So we're gonna put that on top of that. We're actually gonna screen that. So it looks a lot more like a hologram, right? Like it's scanning, like it's being processed or sent. So here are the things we need to do this before we can actually composite it into the other piece of footage. What we're gonna do now is add a new solid, make it white, make it comp size, make it super white, always super white. Okay, we're gonna take the key, we're gonna duplicate it, a Control D, so duplicate it, and for the white solid, I'm gonna rename that ramp. And guess what we're gonna add? Ramp. All right. And the reason we're doing this is because, as you guys I mentioned before, the feet, they suck. Alright, so, and I like his feet in general, just, we didn't, we don't have any boots. So, we are going to cover that up with the ramp. So now that we have that, we're going to move this about here. Yeah. Okay. We want that around there, and we want the blackest part of it to be about here. Try to get that leveled. Control Z, okay. Okay, now I'm going to go into use a subtract matte again. Actually, I want to flip this. I want the key to be the track matte. So let's turn that off, and I want the ramp to be the alpha matte. So just like that. That looks pretty good. And so now we have this white down here and this black up here. And from here, I'm going to screen it. So now we have the white, and the black is gone because of the screen. Cool. So we have that, and that looks good. I'm happy. But you know what I hate? I really hate these lines, these sharp edges, and that's my fault in the key. I didn't do the best. But I try to fix that here. So duplicate that, layer, new adjustment layer. Now I'm gonna call this adjustment layer blur. like the blur from Smallville. And I'm just kidding. And now what I found is that a fast blur, although it's one of the most common blurs, although it's awesome, but that's gonna give you like this really wide, like almost dispersed, almost gone, image. And although we want a little bit of fast blur, that's not what we really want. We also want a Gaussian blur. And Gaussian blur, I don't know how it got its name, or if it's named after someone, but it makes this really thick, unique blur that I really like. And for this tutorial, is really gonna work. So so we want the fast blur under the Gaussian blur, and we're gonna crank that up just a lot, until your finish looks good, until you think it looks good, and don't forget it's gonna be a lens flare there as well. So there's a little bit more fast blur, make it a big there, okay, perfect, it's perfect. Actually bring that down just a little bit, and a variety of blurs can't hurt, it's cool, it's gonna look good. And there, okay, about there. Now we're gonna come over here and we're gonna grab the square mask tool, and we're just gonna drag that over, because we want the top to be in focus, because that's what we're gonna be looking at. We're not gonna be looking at down there. So we're gonna take that, we're gonna click F for feather it a lot, depending on your footage, like 100, 200, whatever. Now we're actually gonna bring this down just a little bit. It's about there, about to like midsection or so. Okay, okay, yeah, okay. Save that, because I am a save Nazi. Okay, looks good to me, but this still is going to be on the footage. And because it's an adjustment layer, anything behind it, it's going to still be, even though when I bring it into an exposition, it's going to be there, even though it's not anything here, it's still going to be adding that Gaussian blur and fast blur in those positions, or, wherever you bring it in. So what we need to do is duplicate key and put it on top of fast blur. Then we're going to apply an alpha matte. Okay, and now we're going to bring the second half of our duo footage, and upon analysis you guys can see that although it's shaky, we have some really good track points here. And when you film stuff like this, what you need to do is, you want to look for contrast points, you want really defined edges, you want something that's not parallaxing. And that's when something, is like passing over something else to where, it kind of skews, but we'll go into that into a future tutorial. But first things first, let's add a little bit of color correction, it's kind of, it's kind of acting backwards, but I really like to see at least a little bit of what my image is going to look like, especially when compositing things on top. But what I found is that if you bring down all the values about the same amount, it makes this really cool contrast effect. And it's not the same as like adding a contrast, because it's not adding a darks and a darks, like it in the bright. It more or less enhances the color a little bit, but you guys can obviously do how you want, but this is something that I choose to do. But okay, so now I'm going to zoom in a little bit. Let's see. Is it gonna bring in the hologram? Is it gonna bring in the hologram? Not yet. Alright, first thing we're gonna do is track. So layer new null object. Name that base track. Okay. Now I'm gonna come over here to this layer and I'm gonna click track motion. I'm gonna just expand that out just a little bit, just kind of see how that is. And I'm actually gonna track backwards. So we're gonna go to where it's about to end. To where the hand is about to move off frame. So I'm gonna just tighten that up, just kind of. And because I've done this a couple times, I know that this is going to give me a great amount of detail for my tracker to be able to follow. And I'm going to track backwards because, it leaves frame and it's just a little bit better. So we're going to leave that there and sped that up. Okay, looks good. So now we're going to come over here and we're going to edit target. Click on base track. Click apply. And an X and Y. Okay. And all the track points are going to be right there. Now that that's on there, we can start adding things, because most of the work is done. We've made the hologram, we've tracked it, we've color corrected it, and now we just need to make it look better. Okay, so now we're going to make a layer new solid. We're going to make it a white solid, comp size. Okay. Turn that off, actually. Okay, zoom in a little bit, and what we're trying to do now is just mask around the area where the feet are going to be, so that it doesn't it's not like these bright white feet on this steampunk looking watch hologram projector. So we're gonna turn that on, mask it out, you know, whatever. Feather it out just a little bit. Not too much. Okay. Adjusted. I kind of want to give it, you know, just that extra push of realism of a hologram, because hologram's real now, actually. But, you know, I really like to put my nose on top. But we're done. The end of the tutorial. Watch part 2, guys. See ya.